everybody, it's me, Ashton, here with Happy Bee Artistry. First things first, we're just going to talk about what I'm going to be knitting while we chit-chat. I already finished the first sock. This is the Colorwork Cuff Club by Summerlee. You've seen me knit this before, I think. This is Silly Socks Disco, both these bright colors, and then I just used a random white. But I will say this yarn is a little bit more scratchy than my other pair of socks, which is Drops and Word. But Drops and Word had some alpaca in it, and this is just wool. So that could be the difference, honestly. And also, I haven't blocked or washed these yet, so that could also be a difference. But I think they're really pretty so far. We are working on the gusset. My least favorite part of the sock, I will say. And today we are just gonna chit-chat a little bit. First, we're gonna talk about summer/spring and what we are planning to do, any goals I have, like that. Anyways. So. Oh, whoosh, that is really close to the edge. I think we didn't drop any. I think we're good. What should I start off with? It is gonna be summer soon. It's May, so it's springy summer. I don't know what you want to consider it. It's been raining a ton over the last couple weeks, which I love, honestly. But I've been having that itch to go outside, but it's been a little bit too crappy. But I think it's starting to get better. We'll see. And I think my biggest summer goal is to kind of get into gardening a little bit. I know it's too late to be starting a whole vegetable garden. And I'm honestly not a big green thumb. So we're going to start off easier-ish, I don't know. And we're going to be planting some flowers. I already have flowers pre-grown. I just need to put them in the ground. This is what my mom wanted for Mother's Day, but no one's we went and got the plants, but no one has planted them yet. And it's been a couple weeks, and they're starting to not be very happy to be in the pot. So I've just decided to take it upon myself to take over the project that they had agreed to. We'll see if I actually do it. It really depends on the weather, because I can't be in areas that are too hot, but just due to my pots, I'm really heat sensitive, and it will cause a flare up, and then I'll pass out, and blah 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 blah. Last night I went on an adventure to find a rake, and I found one, but my heart rate was at 155 just looking for a rake. So yeah, it was towards the end of the day, and my meds start to wear off later in the day, so that could be part of it, but it's still annoying. But that's kind of my goal, at least for now. We'll see. At the very least, I'll be watering the plants and just kind of taking care of them. I went out last night, watered them. We need a major weeding, and my mom made a great decision a couple years ago. I'm being a little sarcastic. I love her, though. I'm not trying to be mean. She put weed barrier down, so she just assumed that no weeds would come through. But it's been years, and weeds have definitely come through. I don't understand how people use these. How do you use these? Because I always... are you knitting under them, maybe? Yeah, that's gotta be it, right? It's got to be it. No, we should have switched this to red. We are not doing decreases this round. I have a little shorts video. I have literally just a red and a green light bulb stitch marker, and I switch based off of if I'm doing a decrease or not in that round. just so I can kind of keep track if I have to put this down, because I am not the best. I can like read some stitches, but sometimes I get a little confused, and it's just easier to just be able to look at the stitch marker. I can figure it out, it just takes time. So it's just easier to flip a stitch marker when I'm knitting. Anyways, I use that specifically for the gusset. I usually don't have too bad of a time when I'm doing the toe, but especially for this pair of socks, I'm having to decrease back down to 72 stitches, but the leg of the sock has been 80 stitches, so I have more stitches to decrease than if I just did like a plain sock. So that is why I'm like extra annoying about my stitch markers on this, specifically on the gusset. But yeah, it's good. If you do hear some weird noises, I have 2 dogs in the room with me. And my sister's dog has a really hard time just chilling out. So we'll see. She has knocked down the camera several times, so I've had to start filming a couple times because I keep getting distracted and then blah de blah. But yeah, I want to start working on the garden a little bit more. We have some hydrangeas. We have a cat's meow that they literally picked because it said cat. We have Spanish lavender. We have regular lavender. We have a foxglove. We have some columbine, I believe, flowers, which are my favorite personally because you can suck like sugar. I don't know what it's called. Like honeysuckle. You can suck like sweet syrup out of them, which is really cool. I'll have to show you one day, but the flowers are not bloomed yet, so it's just like the bush is getting big. So, but that is probably my favorite flower. So we have some of those. I think we have 2, and then we got another one this year. So we should have 3 for this house, which I'm not mad about. They're my favorite. They do kind of spread a little bit, which could either be good or bad depending on your vibes. And they do get fairly big. They get, just depending on the location. Like we had to tie some string around it one year, just to keep the plant from like, it was so big that it couldn't hold itself up anymore. But it's honestly, I don't know what I'm doing there, but we're gonna restart that. It's honestly a great plant. I love it. It comes in yellow, I think, is the typical color, and then there's also like a purpley red color you can do. But yeah, I'll have to update you on my garden if I do finish it, or at least some of the progress. And then they got some random stuff, but it's mostly perennials because we like not having to replant every year. And then she already had a couple perennials, so I gotta go out and like weed around those and just figure out what we're doing. But it's gonna be kind of a headache. But it needs to be done, and that's what my mom wants, so I'll be nice. It's just weird because my sibling like volunteered to do this and then just kind of ditched the project, which isn't that surprising, but it's just the little, like, why you volunteer if you don't want to do it? But I don't know. I'm just me, so I'll probably go out in a little bit and work on that once my hands get a little tired, which I don't know why I think that will, it's going to be different movements. So I was going to say, I don't think that's going to help my hands, but I'm going to probably get a shovel. We were looking for a shovel last night. The rake that I found has 2 like wide spikes. So I tried to like rake the rocks to the side because she covered the top in rocks. And, um, yeah, she covered the top in rocks, but weeds are growing through it, and then you can't plant anything because there's rocks everywhere, and it's just a mess. And it's way harder to weed because there is rocks everywhere. It's just, I don't know. It wasn't the best decision, but that's fine. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work. So it's gonna be fun. Maybe I'll go work on that now. But I'll have to show you a before and after picture when I'm done with it. And you guys can let me know. Do you have any gardening tips? Please tell me. Specifically for flowers. The ones in the pots are starting to get a little angry that they're still in a pot, I will say. The hydrangeas got a little squished on their way home because they took the pickup to grab it, and so they rolled around in the back of the pickup. So some of the heads, unfortunately, did not make it. And so I know hydrangeas really like water, or at least in my head they do. Maybe I'm wrong. But for some reason, I think hydrangeas really like water. So I've been trying to keep them watered so they get better and not worse, but we'll see. And then they did plant 2 pots because she has her garden and then 2 pots that she puts on the sides of the stairs. But they planted them up on the porch, which isn't that big of a deal, but they never moved it off of the porch. And I don't know how much sun that the variety of plants that are in there needs. So I don't know how that's going to go. And then my brother got some pepper plants. I think it's a serrano pepper and some other pepper. And the dogs are fascinated by it. And I'm like, you don't want to touch that. Those are peppers. But knitting wise, I gotta say that my goals are pretty basic. Why are you going through that stitch? Leave me alone. I want to knit a bigger garment, some sort of shirt or blouse or something, or even sweater, but I don't know if I want a sweater because I'm not going to be able to wear it for quite a while. So I'm not sure about the sweater. But I am sure that I want to knit some sort of bigger garment. I got some needles in the mail, and I'm super excited, but I don't really have extra monies. So I'm going to have to knit it in acrylic, because I have a lot of acrylic from when I crocheted more. But I don't have a lot of acrylic in one specific color. So I'm going to have to be creative, but we're going to figure out something. We'll figure out something. I have quite a bit of yarn. So maybe I'll have to do a bunch of different stripes or blocks of color. I'm not sure what my plan's going to be. So I've just been kind of browsing I can never say it. I can say it when I'm not on camera. I don't know. The knitting website. Sorry. I've been kind of browsing that every night just to see if I find anything that's piquing my interest. I did find one shirt that's really pretty, but I don't think I can really do stripes with it because it's a pleated shirt. And I don't know if stripes would really be the vibe, but I don't think I have any of one color. We'll have to go through my yarn, but there is a striped shirt pattern that I'm thinking of doing. We'll see. We'll just kind of improvise and do something, because honestly it's probably not going to be that great because I'm going to be figuring out how to construct a sweater in the first place, so I'm not that worried about it. I don't know, but yeah, luckily it's just going to be a great chill summer. I don't think we have any plans on vacations or anything. Comment down below if you have any fun summer plans or just any fun knitting summer plans either too. I can't speak, apparently. So that's great. What else can we talk about? I don't know. I'm just really excited for this upcoming season. I want to kind of start learning how to do lace and cables eventually. I'm pretty intimidated by it, if I'm honest, because I'm just on the newer end to knitting, so I don't want to like overdo myself. Sorry. I don't want to like overdo it and then like start to hate it because I am overwhelming myself with so many new skills at the same time. But I don't know. Hopefully I can just like pick one thing, get good at it, and then move on. But I could honestly just knit socks for all of eternity. I have so many socks I want to knit, and every time I knit a pair of socks, I'm like, oh, but I need to learn that, and I need to learn that, and I need to learn that. Like, there's so many different ways to knit socks, and there's so many different patterns that, like, I could honestly knit socks happily for forever. And if I don't like a sweater that I'm gonna try, or a shirt or whatever, maybe I will just knit socks for all of eternity. And I'm not gonna be mad at that. Because socks are great. I love a good sock. I love wearing socks. I love wearing my knit socks. This is only my second pair. But I love wearing them. I want to show them to everyone. I'm annoying like that. I don't. I did to my grandma, but why would you not show your grandma your knit socks? Like, come on, guys. Grandmas love a good arts and craft. Honestly. Grandmas love supporting. At least my grandma does. I have a really cool grandma, though. Some people, I feel like your grandma's either, like, really cool or just, like, the worst human being ever. And I got super lucky and have a cool one. But I heard a lot of stories of some, like, not cool grandmas. And I am very blessed to have a cool grandma. So I don't take her for granted. She is a very crafty, cool person. And I just love her. She's amazing. She likes to do random crafts. Like, she's just really encouraging. She plays the piano and the organ, which is like such an old lady thing to do. Is specifically the organ. The piano is not an old lady thing to do, but the organ I feel like is. And she loves flowers, and she's super supportive, and honestly is just an amazing person. And her with my grandpa, they're the cutest couple in the world. Every time she goes out, she'll be like, oh, this is what he would order, like her husband. This is what Tim would order. And if he goes out without her, he's like, I don't know what I like. Kathy tells me what I like. So it's just the cutest. They're so cute. He's very codependent on her. He loves her. They're the sweetest couple. Honestly, couple goals. He's just the funniest guy. I just have awesome grandparents. I'm really excited because this summer we are planning on doing a bunch of like Monday night horse riding. So the whole family is invited. We're gonna saddle up a couple horses and we're just gonna ride them around. And it's gonna be a great time. Especially for the younger kids that don't really know how to ride or haven't. I mean, most of them should know how to ride. We live on a farm. They should know how to ride, but a lot of them don't ride regularly. They have too much stuff going on. So, yeah, it's been fun. I'm really excited for those to come up. I'll have to put a clip when one happens of just the horses. I did offer, usually, so, with horses, you don't ride them as much in the winter, at least in my area, because it is super snowy and it's just rough on their legs, and you don't really want to be out in the snow. So they kind of get a break in the winter. But once summer comes, you kind of need to not necessarily re-break it, but because they already know, like, they're trained horses, but they just don't, they're just a little bit more skittish after they haven't been ridden for a long time to start riding. So I might help ride some of the horses beforehand so that we're not putting the kids on horses that just haven't been ridden in months. But they all got to get shoes on, and that's going to take a while because finding a person who shoes horses, is really hard. I think they're called farriers. Is apparently harder than you would think, which you would think is pretty hard. There's a school that does it about a half an hour away, so I think they're going to take all of them to the school. Some people do it themselves. It just really just depends. Our horses are kind of punks about lifting up their feet because we don't bug them about it too much. I mean, we do, because you got to clean out under their hooves and do all that stuff, but they just don't like it. So they are kind of punks about it. So we do have to take them to someone else. If we really had to, we could shoe them ourselves, but it's just a headache and it's easier to get done. So we gotta get them all shoed before we start riding them so that they don't hurt their hooves. I mean, some people ride horses without shoes, but you gotta make sure it's just a lot harder on their feet and it's a little bit more risky. You want to only ride on certain types of ground. Like, it's really hard for horses to walk on, like, rocks and pavement a ton, because that's not necessarily natural. I mean, the rocks are more natural, but they're used to covering pretty rough terrain because we used to have cows up in the forest, so we would be going in whatever the forest gave us, which sometimes was pretty wild. There was one day that I went when I was a kid. I was probably 8 or 9, and I went up to help my grandpa herd the cows that day. Now, every time I go with him, I'm like, are we going that way? No, I won't go if we go to that particular path. The hill was, like, straight up, and, like, so bad that you couldn't ride the horse up the hill. Sorry, I had to pause the video because someone came in and my sister's dog said no thank you. So if you hear her grumbling, that's her. Nilla, it's okay. Come here. Come on. Come say hi to everyone. Can you say hi? Can you say hi? Huh? It's okay. I know you don't like people very much. I know. You're such a brat. You need to calm down. We let people that we know into our house, and that's okay. They can come into our house. And it sounds like she just left. No? As I was saying, the hill was, like, so steep that you couldn't ride your horse up the hill. You had to get off and climb the hill and just let the horse climb the hill themselves. It just wasn't very safe for both to go up, because if one fell, it just wasn't the safest. So I'm, like, manually, please don't. I love this dog. So I'm, like, manually going uphill on my, like, without a horse. It was after, like, 300 cows had just gone ahead of us. 300 cows have gone ahead of us. So the whole trail is covered in manure. Like, so just coated. So it's slippery. And then you can't ride your horse. So you're, like, huffing and puffing, climbing this hill. And your horse is huffing and puffing behind you trying to get up. And it was just a nightmare. I, towards the, like, top of the hill, slipped and got just covered in poo. And it was like not that, it's probably, I still had a solid probably 5 or 6 hours of riding that horse to do after. So I had the pleasure of being covered in cow manure all day, which was so great. It was not great. It sucked really bad, but I survived, and now it's a fun little story, and I'm grateful for the memory. But I don't want to do it again. Still, to this day, I do not want to do that again. I'll ride. I just will not go to that one place. It was not fun at all. So I'm a little dramatic about it, but it was like honestly one of the hardest things I've ever done. It was so bad. But it was so fun. It's just good memories. To spend all that time with my grandpa and to be able to like learn and be involved in part of the farm life, even though I didn't live on the farm at the time. Honestly, I was probably more involved in the farm life before I lived on the farm. I don't really do much on the farm, but that's fine. It's a lot of work. I don't have to do the hard stuff. I am lucky and just get to volunteer when it sounds fun. So, but my uncles have to do all the hard stuff. Even my dad worked on the farm for a little bit, but he's allergic to hay. And that's not great when you're farming hay. So he couldn't work there super long. He worked for a couple years, I think. It was just really hard on him. So he eventually found a different job, and it's been great. So, but I liked the farm. I love the farm. I live on the farm still. Like we built our house on the farm. We took part of the pasture, and we live literally in a pasture. And then my uncle took a different part of the pasture. The pasture is really big, by the way. I don't want you to think that we're just like giving the horses like 3 square feet. They definitely still have tons of space to run around. It's over probably 4 or 5 acres long, and I'm not sure how deep it is. I don't know. There's quite a bit of space back there, so I don't feel bad for them. They get taken care of. They're good horses. They're working horses. Farm life is like so cool. I mean, I don't really have to live the farm life. And I live only about 20 minutes out of town. But it's awesome. I love looking out and seeing horses and seeing cows and like have property that I could like be on the Snake River. Like we went and camped right next to the Snake River a couple weeks ago. And that's amazing. That's so cool that we can just be in nature by walking out our front door. Like there's 100 acres just across the street from us that's just farmland. Like a big old plot of land. Just in the middle. Like, and I find it so weird that like there's people that live in giant cities that don't ever get to see, well, I mean, I'm sure they see it, but they don't have these like giant gaps of space. And I just have it like surrounding me basically. But I don't know. I'm kind of biased. I think it's beautiful out here. I live in Idaho. It is both the best and the worst. It's either like super cold and miserable, which is like half the year. Winter usually starts in October. It usually is snowing by October. We've had snow days on Thanksgiving, which was great because our Thanksgiving break was a little bit longer because it snowed so terribly. But it has also like snowed on the 4th of July before, so not as great because who wants to be in the snow on the 4th of July? Not me. And not me personally, at least. But I love it here. Like, I can take a day trip to Yellowstone. Who can, like, do that? Like, there's not a ton of people that can just, like, randomly decide they want to go to Yellowstone that day and go and come back in the same day. Like, that's awesome. I'm also pretty close to Jackson, Wyoming. I mean, it's a couple hours drive, but it's like nothing crazy. It is nothing crazy, and like it's another like day trip kind of thing. Like, you can go and be back within a couple of hours. And like that's awesome. That's so cool. And it's like stunningly gorgeous up in Jackson, Wyoming. Like, it is so pretty. And there's so many like cool tiny little shops. There's my favorite place is obviously the candy shop. I've been going there since I was a child. There's also like a place that will take old-timey pictures of you in like and like cowboy clothes, and you can like it's funny. I haven't done that since I was like a tiny kid though. I don't know if I would do that again, but it's fun. It's a fun place. There's like the sidewalks are like all these like wooden planks, and there's these a bunch of mini shops, and there's like a ton of like random merch. Like, it's just and it's so pretty. It's like ridiculously gorgeous up there. A lot of people go there for just like tourism. The Tetons are in the area. There's a lot. I think skiing is a big thing there. I'm not that sure. I'm pretty sure skiing's a big thing. I'm not a big winter sports person, so like don't ask me. But so I don't know how good the skiing is, but I'm pretty sure there's skiing up there. It's just super pretty. And then Yellowstone is like beautiful on its own. There's Jenny Lake, which is gorgeous. I'll have to put a picture that I took a couple of years ago at Jenny Lake. And it's one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken of the lake, and like it's just so pretty. I think it might even just be the river before the lake. But you can like take a boat across the lake. It's fun. And there's a ton of like hiking around. I'm not a big hiking person. But you can be, and that's fine. There's a ton of hiking trails that are like super cool and amazing. There's hot springs, like natural hot springs around. There's so many like cool things to do in Idaho. So, or in states surrounding Idaho. And I can do day trips. I'm in like the southeast though, so I'm towards the bottom. So that could make a difference. Like, if you're at the top of Idaho, it's not going to be a day trip to go to Yellowstone, I don't think. So it does just depend on the area that you are in, but I adore it here. I think it's awesome. It doesn't get like crazy hot in the summer. Sometimes it gets hot, but like not like yeah. But it's kind of a cool area. You can go hike. There's just like so many things, and like nature is so pretty around here. Like, down the road there's some property that is like we went camping a couple weeks ago on, and we with permission of the landowner, by the way. We went camping a couple weeks ago, and like right off the Snake River, beautiful, surrounded by trees. Like, there was some moose that came into the camp. We saw a woodpecker. We saw a bald eagle. That was kind of cool. I think I have a picture of the bald eagle, so if I am paying attention during editing, I can like insert a picture of the bald eagle. But there's some eagles around here. There's some really cool wildlife. Sometimes I see moose out in the field across the road from us. Luckily we haven't had any problems with raccoons. We do have quite a few coyotes that, like, my neighbor's dogs keep getting attacked by coyotes. Luckily, my dog has been fine so far, but we do have a bigger dog, and we usually have her out if the small dog is out, so that she kind of, like, watches over the smaller dog. I should really check my gauge. Like, if I'm a tighter knitter or a looser knitter, because I've never measured gauge, but I've only, like, really knit socks so far, so, like, don't take me for an example. When I do knit a shirt, some sort of top, I do plan on doing a gauge swatch. Like, No, I'm fine with fire. I think you can kind of get away with it with socks, though. I don't know. Maybe you can't. But I have so far. So, I don't think it's as big of a deal. But I've also only have knit socks for me. So I can like try them on throughout the process. If I were knitting socks for someone else, I would have to be a little bit more careful. But I can like try it on. So, especially with the color work on the sock, I really wanted to try it on after I finish the color work, just to make sure I don't continue the entire sock and then realize this isn't gonna fit. So, yeah, people do that. And I say try it on your knits, unless you're knitting it for someone else. And then you gotta figure it out. Or if you're a similar size, try it on. But, like, if I knit my sister's some socks, I would wanted to get some foot measurements from her in the first place, just so that I knew what size to knit and so on. So I had to like measure the ball of my foot. I did some measurements to figure out what size I should be knitting and so on and so on. My gauge for the socks so far I think has been pretty accurate, because the size that I thought I was supposed to wear is the size that I have been wearing. So it's been working so far with the needles that I've been using. I believe I've been using two. That's a good question. What size of needles have I been using? The ones that I have right now, I always have to use like a needle gauge, but my Chow Goos, which are the same size, have it etched in. 2.25. So this is a US size 1, I believe, that I used to knit my socks. And I didn't change the size of needle for this sock for the color work. I just increased the amount of stitches. So we did 80 instead of 72. And I read the instructions wrong. Don't tell on me. I read the instructions wrong, so only a little bit of it. I mean, you can't, I don't even know if you can tell. So I did the cuff in 72 stitches, then increased on the last round of the cuff, and then to 280, and then did it. But the thing just says like follow it for 80 across the top. But I don't know. This worked out. Like, you can't tell that I did it wrong necessarily. At least I don't think you can. On my other pair you might, because I didn't do the increases until the first row of knits instead of on the cuff. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't read the instructions on either. I don't know why, but it's fine. It still made a complete sock, so I'm gonna go with it. But yeah, anyways, that's kind of my random chit-chatting of the day. Talking about Idaho, talking about my grandparents, talking about socks. I'm obsessed with socks, and I'm okay with that. But thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have like a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you get to knit something today, or learn to knit something, or don't knit at all and just enjoy like sitting and chit-chatting, or whatever this was for you. Comment down below if you are working on a pattern, if you are working on anything with me, whether that's crochet or knitting or anything crafty. Like, let me know if you're working on something while watching this video. Thank you so much for joining, and have a great day. Goodbye.